Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from Desperate Dad 5763 and says, am I the arsehole for taking my daughter to 28 years later as a reward for going along with clothes shopping? I, 40s male, have 3 kids, 4 girls. We're going to my brother's wedding soon. My oldest is 12 and was upset that she is going as a guest when her sisters, 6 and 8, get to be flower girls, which she's never been. We've tried finding something nice for Leah to wear, but she was not having a great time with the dress shopping process. Someone suggested we do something fun afterwards as a reward, like going out for lunch, taking a friend, or seeing a movie. Her friends are out of town, so I suggested we go shopping first, then go to a movie. We get the dress, then go to the theater. Leah wanted to watch 28 Years Later. It's rated R, and I'm not really okay with her watching something like that. I suggested we go see Superman or Lilo and Stitch, or take a rain check and watch Fantastic Four. But no, she wants to watch 28 Years Later. I figure why not? I watched R movies when I was younger. The only other person who would have a problem would be her mum, and she was working, so we go see that movie. Well, my wife found out and she's furious that I let our daughter watch that movie. She says it was irresponsible for me to take her to it and that we should have done something else. Her stance is that I should have suggested we do something else instead of doing what Leah wanted. I don't agree. First off, it was the only way we could get Leah to go along with getting a dress. Second, since she's too old to have a part in the wedding, I may as well let her do something adult and let her watch the movie. She actually handled it well. She loved the movie. But my wife still thinks it was irresponsible, and I was basically bribing our daughter into shopping. If this was such a big deal for her, she should have just taken her shopping herself. But I'm rambling. Am I the arsehole for taking my daughter to 28 years later as a reward for going along with shopping for a wedding? Edit. I'm getting a lot of comments whether it was okay to let her watch an R movie without her mum's okay. Here's my side of the story. My wife tried to take Leah dress shopping before. It ended with them fighting over what to wear because 1, Leah didn't like the clothes her mum picked out, and 2, she didn't want to go to the wedding. A friend suggested we do something fun to reward her afterwards, which is why I came up with a movie. The deal was that if we can find an outfit Leah can wear without argument, then we can go to the movies as a reward. Her choice. I thought she would pick How to Train Your Dragon or Superman. I didn't think she'd want to watch 28 Years Later. Some people said I should have taken her home if she didn't pick another movie. I think that would have been counterproductive. What kind of message am I sending if I took her shopping and then said, okay, we picked out a dress you don't like and is going to Goodwill once this shindig is over. But since you won't pick another movie, we're going home. Besides, I watched worse things when I was younger. We don't normally watch horror movies. I love them, but my wife is stricter on what the kids watch. The kids mostly watch things like Disney or DreamWorks or family films. As for the movie, Leah loved it. She and I had a pretty good talk on the way home. She had never watched 28 Days Later, so I filled her in on what happened. The only part that she found upsetting was the story with the mum, but that has to do with her losing a classmate recently. We talked a bit about how it would have felt for the kid in the movie. He's the same age as her and what that would have been like for both him and his actor. She hasn't had any nightmares, but I'm going to talk to her again just to make sure things are okay. I think I might have a warped view on this because I grew up watching horror movies, so you might have to take what I say with a pinch of salt. I grew up watching like Chucky, Puppet Master, Hellraiser, all that kind of stuff. And for me, it never gave me nightmares or anything like that, but I think that's very different for every child on how they're going to handle it, and each parent would know. And even though that is what I would say, I think it's still a bit of a weak argument at the same time, but especially like when, you know, they didn't automatically become your family policy on age-rated movies or whatever, especially when your wife has a different view on it. That's the issue here, isn't it? It's like your wife has stricter boundaries on it and you can't automatically overrule them without some sort of discussion. And it also sounds like there was issues with the mum in this as well, with that required dad to intervene because the whole dress shopping thing. So I wonder what's going to come out with that as well. I mean, in the end, it's about their communication, isn't it? I can't wait to go and see 28 years later, to be quite honest. I'm really looking forward to it. But see, Ruth says not the arsehole. She's 12 and is feeling jealous that she's not in the wedding with her little sisters because she's too grown up. So you did something grown up with her. Took her to see a scary film. It's not the worst thing ever. Advance says not the arsehole. I saw way worse movies than 28 years later at that age. Only worse thing than blood was probably the giant zombie dong in the movie. Great. That's something I'm going to be looking out for now in the movie, and I'll be doing like the DiCaprio meme when it pops up. Pops up probably isn't the greatest word there given the context, but hey, Star says not the arsehole. Mum should have taken Leah shopping if she was going to criticize your choice of incentive. She's 12, not 6. You were with her. This was a pick your battles moment. Opie responded saying, my wife tried to take Leah shopping for a dress a couple of times, but they couldn't find something she could wear. Have you ever tried taking a preteen shopping? It's pretty hard to find something when she's too old for the kids section, but can't wear anything in the women's department. Great Dane Mum says not the arsehole, best dad ever. You made a promise and stuck to it, and by doing so, earned her trust. My dad used to take me to see a movie when I was depressed, and it brought us closer together. My dad is who I talk to when I need to talk about anything. By sticking to your word and not dismissing what she wanted, especially seeing as she was already being dismissed from being a part of the wedding, you showed her that she too is special and loved. Exactly what she needed. And one more comment that says not the arsehole. Your daughter was not going to be traumatized by going to an R-rated movie. Poltergeist was one of my fave movies when I was 8. Obviously, my parents are awful. That's not the point. Joking, my parents are amazing and I'm very successful, productive, well-adjusted adult most of the time. It's okay to sort of bribe your kids once in a while. You're Leah's parent too, and you can make low-stakes decisions like this on your own, even when your wife might disagree. The other girls get to be in the wedding. Leah got to see a movie. Seems fair. So it was around 19 days after this post that OP came into the post and says, hey y'all, it's been a couple of weeks, but I wanted to post an update. To recap, I took my 12-year-old daughter to watch 28 Years Later as a reward, incentive, or bribe to go along with dress shopping for a family wedding. I had a lot of comments reassuring me that I didn't do anything wrong. That felt like a relief. I'm an 80s kid and had watched movies like Alien, Terminator, Child's Play, and Friday the 13th by the time I was Leah's age. Good to know others got to share those experiences because sometimes it feels like she doesn't get to experience that freedom I got to enjoy growing up. My wife was pissed about the movie. She grew up in a more conservative household and didn't watch her first R-rated movie until she was in her 20s. Her concern was that Leah never seen a movie like 28 Years Later and pointed out how scary the trailer and the advertisements were. She was afraid that she would get nightmares, which didn't happen. Couldn't we have done something else instead? That's when I asked her what her game plan was when she and Leah were trying to find a dress. My wife was dumbfounded and admitted that she thought about going to lunch, but it didn't happen. I asked her if she noticed how upset Leah was at dress shopping because on the drive home, Leah told me that while she hated shopping, she had fun at the movie. That was when she spilled. She was upset at being left out of the wedding, how she didn't want to be a guest when her sisters and cousins get to be flower girls or ushers or the ring bearer. She didn't like how she looks in dresses and was afraid of what everyone was going to say about her, but she hated the suit she tried on more. She thought it felt like a chore and asked if it was too late to not go, and that she told me that once her mum said that it wasn't about her. As much as she hated that we watched 28 Years Later, my wife admitted that she screwed up on the dress part, that we should have done more of an effort to make this wedding experience better for her. My wife apologized and said I did good. The wedding itself was a dumpster fire, but that's another story for another time. What? My wife did make it up to Leah by letting an older cousin take her out to get her hair and nails done the morning of the wedding. One thing that came out of this, Leah loved the movie date and has been asking when we can do it again. I returned the dress. She did say she hated it and won't wear it again, and I'm going to use money to take her to watch Weapons when it comes out. We've also been watching more movies at home together, when her sisters are in bed of course. One of the commenters says you returned the dress after she already wore it. If so, that's sort of an arsehole thing to do, lol. A lot of people end up wearing a dress they wore to a wedding only once, unfortunately. Good to know things worked out though. Opie says to be honest, she wore it for maybe 2 before leaving the wedding. What do you do with a barely used dress? For the record, Leah suggested burning it. No Answer says, for future events, maybe look for dress rentals instead of buying and returning. Obia says, I'm guessing her mum doesn't know about the alpha dong in the movie. Interestingly, Opie has another update after this saying, is it normal to have kids at the rehearsal dinner, and says, my brother is getting married this weekend. There's a rehearsal dinner on Friday night. He and his wife-to-be made it clear that it was the bridal party only. My wife and I took it to mean adults only. However, my brother is now telling me that it includes the kids in the party, aka my 2 younger daughters and a nephew, and that his wife can't wait to see them at the dinner. We have another kid who isn't in the party. We already made plans for an older cousin to take them to go get pizza and watch the Fantastic Four. I need some input. Is it normal to have kids at the rehearsal dinner? I can't find any other info online, otherwise I'm just going to tell my brother that the kids already have plans. Edit to be clear, the plan is for our younger kids to go to the rehearsal itself, then have the cousin come pick them up for the movie. The other reason why we thought the dinner would be adults only is because it's going to be at a steakhouse that doesn't offer a lot for kids. Lastly, why is my oldest kid not in the bridal party? My brother says she's too old. She's not the only one, as she has some older cousins who didn't make the cut either. She's hanging out with them on the day of the rehearsal. Edit 2, I just got off the phone. I asked my brother what he meant by bridal party only and kids in the party. He said that the rehearsal dinner was for everyone who went to the rehearsal and their parents. I asked if my oldest could come, even though she's a guest. He said no, because his wife's family is paying for it. The restaurant is really pricey and they want to keep it to people actually in the wedding. My wife apparently got a pass because of our 2 youngest. What a crock of crap. I told my brother that sorry, the kids already have plans for Friday night, but my wife and I will be there. Commodore says to OP, it's kind of rude to do that to kids in the same family, so I would just say that the kids have plans and can't attend. Besides, the kids would probably enjoy pizza and the Fantastic Four much more than an event with no other kids that's for adults. Curious Tech says, I think since the children are in the wedding party, it isn't odd to include them, but it is rude for the couple to exclude your other child. So in your case, unless all of your children can attend, I'd stick with your original plan to have their cousin take all of them out for the evening, which I imagine is more fun for them anyway. OP adds another update and says the wedding coordinator screamed at an usher, leading to a walkout. Ooh-wee. This happened at my brother's wedding last week. There were 4 ushers, 2 of whom are our nephews and 2 were related to the bride. I don't remember how they are related. This is a wedding of 250 plus people, and the bride's ushers disappeared, leaving Jackson and Newt, who are 17 and 14, to hold down the fort. Something important to note is that we think Newt is on the spectrum. He gets easily overstimulated, having to deal with hundreds of guests left him feeling overwhelmed. My daughter Leah is close to Newt, and he asked her to help while he went to calm down. I'm in this room, getting ready with my brothers and the other groomsmen, when someone comes to get me because the wedding coordinator is screaming at my 12-year-old. I run out to the front and I see this Abby Lee Miller looking psycho yelling at my daughter, screaming at my nephew, and Newt is freaking out while Leah is trying to calm him down. My sister Melissa is alerted and she comes out, yelling at the coordinator to stop it. It became this whole thing where everyone was shouting and screaming at each other, and it's like an episode of Real Housewives on Fort Myers. When it's over, the coordinator stormed off. Newt is freaking out and Leah, Jackson and Melissa are furious. Melissa decided then and there to take the boys home. Leah wants to go too, which me and her mum give the okay. Several of their cousins also decided to walk out. We end up leaving immediately after the ceremony. The bride was furious that half the attendees, mostly of the groom side, ended up not coming to the reception. As for the 2 other ushers, right now the bride and groom are in trouble with the venue because the ushers were found smoking on the grounds. We live in Florida, and what they were smoking isn't legal recreationally. Bloody hell, what a shit show. False appointment says, I hope the wedding coordinator was fired. The bride telling her services were no longer required and she needed to leave immediately is the only thing that would have salvaged this. What kind of a person, let alone professional at work, decides to scream at children like that? Was the bride mad that you guys wouldn't stand for it, rather than mad at the coordinator? If so, good luck to your brother. Commenter says, what on earth was the coordinator screaming about? What on earth did the kids do that she felt justified doing that at a wedding? Commenter says, I'm guessing she was yelling due to the lack of half the ushers, and a strange to her young girl had stepped in to help in place of one of the remaining ushers. Stress is a bitch. What she did was not okay, especially because she's the professional. If I were the bride, I'd be fuming that due to the actions of two of my relatives, half the attendees didn't show up to the reception I paid a bunch for. And a commenter says, then her anger is misplaced. Why is she yelling at kids who are trying their best, when she should be mad at whoever is supposed to be supervising them? If she's supposed to be supervising, then she should have handled the other kids disappearing as a more worrisome than anything. Gee bloody whiz to be a fly on the wall in that situation. But now, I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from Bonus West 5031, and it says, am I the arsehole here for not letting my ex-husband and one of his future stepkids come inside? Our custody arrangement is for each of us to pick the kids up on our day during our 2-hour pickup window. He arrived at the house and I already had the boys ready. I saw his car pull into the driveway on my camera, so the boys were already halfway to the door when my ex knocks. I open the door and he's holding the hand of a 4-year-old. He asks to come in and says his fiance's son needs to use the bathroom. I told him I don't want him to come inside because I don't feel comfortable with him in my house. He has a history of snooping through my things. He asked me to take his future stepson to the bathroom, and I said I was uncomfortable with the situation. He said his stepson needed to pee. I suggested the McDonald's up the road. He said my bathroom would be way cleaner than a McDonald's. At this point, my 11-year-old started pestering his dad to stop so they could leave. My ex said, your brother needs to use the bathroom. My son said, I'll take him. My ex said, no, your mother would rather he pee his pants. We'll go and hopefully we'll get to the McDonald's in time. My ex and the boys left. He messaged me afterwards saying I was cruel to a child to punish him and that's not okay. He said I made us both look bad in front of the kids and should be embarrassed of my actions. I've been fighting with him for so long, my perspective is screwed up. Was I in the wrong? And look, his behavior, there's more at play here, that he refused your son taking him to the bathroom instead, wouldn't have it. He's playing games of some sort. But a commenter said to OP, not the arsehole. He wanted to snoop. This was obvious after he rejected your son's offer to take the kid to the bathroom. Sneaky, isn't he? OP says, always has been. He's an intelligent man. Add Mum to Trend says, okay, so I like to ask my husband these scenarios and get his 2 cents. He seems to think, because you have stated you've had multiple problems with the ex, that this was more about control. He wanted you to do what he said. Was the boy hurting and crying because he had to go? If not, my spouse thinks it was a power play by your ex. If it were me, I would have asked my son to take him and told the ex to go wait in his car. But if this douche just like to jerk you around, then not the arsehole. Opie says he was holding my ex's hand and kind of looking around. He didn't say anything. Boundary says your son did actually offer to take the kid to the bathroom and your ex declined. Sounds like a power play to me. You can remind him that he is not welcome in your house unless it is life or limb, and he needs to organize himself properly before he arrives. So it was about a week later that OP came in with an update and said, I did talk to my lawyer about what happened. He said we can address it at the hearing we already have scheduled about the movie situation. I thought that was that. But of course it was my turn to pick up the kids today. When I arrived at my ex's place, he opened the door very wide and invited me in. I was suspicious and said, no thank you. He kept insisting I come in so we can show the kids we are civil. But I had a bad feeling. I said I would just wait in the car for the boys to come out. I got in my car and texted my older son that I was there. A short while later, he texted me back saying his dad said they couldn't leave unless I got them. I went back to the door and knocked again. Again, my ex invited me inside. I said I didn't want to come in, and that was when my boy showed up. My ex's fiance was right behind them, telling them to come back upstairs. They ran to me and we left. I don't know what his game is, but I'm not falling for it, whatever it is. Ugh, this is freaking me out, this one. Eternally says not the arsehole. He was way too insistent for you to come in and then refusing to let your kids leave? No. Always follow your gut, especially when the spider is so persistent in inviting the fly into the parlor. The Cardinal says, what's the movie situation? Opie said I had plans to take the boys to the movies, and he wanted me to not take them so he could take them during his custody time. I let them decide, and they wanted to go on the opening day, my custody time. I took them. He's saying I shouldn't be able to take them to a movie he specifically told me not to take them to. I think that only applies when it's a movie he doesn't want them to see at all. Not one he is okay with them seeing, but merely wants to take them himself. Capable says, yeah, my ex tried to give me orders too. Newsflash, I'm not your husband anymore. I don't give a shit if she has spaghetti or pizza twice, and neither would the courts. You being neurotic about it is a you problem. Another commenter says he has no right to tell you what to do, and what the kids go watch when you have them. He's no longer your husband. He doesn't own the kids either. Please consider only talking with him over app, and only about essential things for kids. It's not essential for him to know what movies you see with your own children. Opie says, our son told him we're going to watch the movie, not me. He was excited about it, so he told his dad. Tess says, I'm sure there is a good reason you left him. Not spending time with him was the desired outcome. Opie replies saying, you want to know something funny? Spending time with him was the best part. It was everything else that sucked. I had no privacy. He went through my phone and computer almost every night. If I asked to use my phone while he was going through it, I was hiding something. He would dig through the drawers looking for hidden stuff and mess everything up. And if I complained, he would do it again because there must have been something there if I was complaining. I had to account for every penny I spent, every moment I wasn't being productive. When we were doing things together, he was so charming, funny and sweet. He's so handsome and smart and fit. But it got to the point where I was scared whenever he wasn't around because I couldn't trust myself to make decisions without his approval. I was becoming a shell of myself. Gee whiz, absolutely scary. And you can tell how he's playing games and they seem to be escalating. It almost felt like the bathroom was just a test run, and when that didn't work, he tried to come inside to show that we're civil, that kind of manipulation and control. And it's scary that he didn't let your kids leave until you came inside. It's alarming, right? That with the background that you shared, the snooping, financial control, privacy violations, classic controlling behavior that we've seen time and time again. Regardless of what happens going forward, I hope OP does document everything, keep those lawyer appointments, and just trusting their gut in this situation because it is weird as hell. But now, I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And don't forget, at the very end of the video, there'll be a couple of playlists at the very end that you can click on, and it will automatically scroll through all those videos for you. Huge thank you for being here again, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, and much love.